Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation, where we talk about fishing and competition. It's your boy Ox Pippin, aka Ox Fishing. Don't come over here tripping. Hey, hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome to the Bat Cave, Ryan.
Yeah. I went dark theme tonight.
Yeah, I like it. Looks good in there. The road studio is catching up to the home studio.
I know. I tried to balance it out. I felt bad, just like I was doing a podcast in a closet down here. So I actually put some effort into it.
Well, you know, the beginnings of this whole show was us doing it from who knows where. I was
from
doing
the
them
couch,
in apartment. Yeah, couches and propping stuff up with napkin holders. We were doing all kinds of crazy.
We're growing up so fast.
So here we are. Now we got folks jumping in on YouTube and Facebook. Appreciate y'all. I'm waiting on our Twitchers to show up. We'll see if they show up tonight. But help us out over there on Facebook. Hit that share button. We're doing a Z-Man giveaway tonight. We did the Revos last week, so a little Z-Man giveaway tonight. To get in on that, all you have to do is just like and share on Facebook, like and comment on YouTube and Twitch. Haven't figured out how to do it on all the other platforms yet, so sorry.
The Revos arrived too. I saw that post earlier today. So another satisfied user.
Yeah. So there you go. That'll be a good fun night. Of course, you guys saw our guests. We've got Jordan Marshall and Joshua Diehl on, the overall winner of the Native No Limit tournament on Guntersville, and then the Big Bass winner, the Real Deal, won the Big Bass portion of that, taking the biggest fish of the event. So we're going to talk to them. It looked like it was tough fishing, Ryan. Did you talk to anybody that was in that event on your home pond there?
I talked to Marshall just because we normally like to fish a similar area. But apparently we'll get into that in a little bit, but it was quite crowded when he arrived to the old honey hole. So, you have to think this time of year fishing is going to be tough about anywhere in the South, but Guntersville, usually between the grass and the number of cooler water feeder creeks, it usually puts up some decent limits.
Yeah. So we'll get those guys in here. We're going to talk to them about the fishing. Of course, we're going to talk to Jordan about the debut of road dogging. He's in the Road Dog studio right now, so we're going to talk about that a little bit too, and how the first one went. So, is anyone in the comments? Let us know. Did you watch the first one? It kind of built momentum after the first day that we dropped it, and a lot of people on YouTube watched it. We got some comments over there. Facebook started picking up steam. So, if you watched it, let us know what you thought of the first episode of Road Dogging and who you want to see on there coming up. So, good stuff. What else went down that we need to talk about? It's fall. It's not 100 degrees anymore. It's kind of cooling down a little bit. We got football.
Hurricanes blowing in here this week.
Yeah, we got football in the air. College football starting, so it's that time.
I meant to give DJ Williams a shout out last week, and I completely forgot. I stopped and had dinner at his establishment on the way up to La Crosse. Delicious. If you're ever around the upper St. Louis area, stop by and see old DJ.
Just a little alert, Ryan. The Twitcher has arrived. Our Twitcher's there.
Right.
So appreciate you over there. I don't even know if that's what it's called, a Twitcher.
We're complete now.
Yeah, I've been going with that since the beginning. So that's what you are, the Twitcher. Appreciate you. Should change your handle to that. We're kind of winding down the summer, man. It seems like this whole tournament season has flown by. Maybe that's because I hadn't got to fish much this summer. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of winding down fast, isn't it?
What's left? BOS on Rayburn and then Bassmaster on Susky are the final two big ones. Yeah.
Look here, my boy from Arkansas, Stephen Dunlap. What do the Arkansas Hogs have to do to get some airtime? They have qualified for the championship. And I assume he's referring to the Arkansas Hogs of the KBT, formerly the KFL. So well done, Arkansas Hogs. There you go. You got some airtime.
Done. Boom.
Will it be live streamed?
Next request.
Yeah, next request. If you want airtime, we'll give it to you. Maybe. If it wasn't Arkansas, I wouldn't have done it.
Richie, I am doing fantastic, man. I'm back on ground level. All the wedges are out of the old boot, and I'm hopping around. Dwayne,
is that the no log out solution?
Hell, I hope so, Dwayne. I'll send you $500. That's fine. That is fine.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't have a lot to cover, man. I say we just get these guests in here and start talking about this no limit tournament. What do you think?
Okay. All right, then we'll do it.
Stop beating around the bush. There they are. Hey, right up in the Road Dog in the studio. Jordan Marshall, the Road Dog, and Joshua, the Real Deal Fishing.
What's up?
How you guys doing? What's going on, gentlemen? Congratulations on your run at the G down there to both of you. Marshall, obviously, you put together the big stringer of all the inches. Did you have any kind of different approach going into this one as far as, needing numbers more so than just the 5 big bites?
Honestly, not really. I kind of did my usual cover a bunch of water and we'll see what happens kind of thing. I actually checked out a few different places, saw they had sprayed a little bit of grass on Friday night when I was driving down and just kind of looking around, and thought I had a pretty good plan. And the first place I pulled up to the morning of the tournament, there was a lot of people there. So I kind of scrambled, checked out. B spot had some people, C spot had some grass sprayage. So I ended up going to somewhere I'd never been before, and it just worked out nicely.
You can't beat that. And Mr. Diehl, obviously you have had a lot of success on the local trails, but also the larger national tournaments as well. What was your approach going into Guntersville? You've got some experience there, yep.
I do have some experience there, but to be honest with you, my approach going into Guntersville was KBT related more than it was the Native No Limit Series. So similar to the Arkansas Hogs, the Southern Slayers won the Southeast region, and we'll be back on Guntersville in November for the championship that'll be hosted there. I went in with the intent to catch bigger fish for my team and not really focus on the no limit portion. And then I had a couple off spots where I felt like I could pull off and find a big bite late if my team needed it, or if I just, felt the itch to try and squeeze out a $1,000 paycheck.
That's cool.
That's a worthwhile gamble.
Yeah, that's kind of the benefit of this kind of format. If you're going to double dip a tournament, that's one to do it, because you don't need to worry about even getting a 5 fish limit. You can just catch one good one and
that's right,
cash money, and you're good to go. So
yeah, that format probably couples well with the team format of the KBT, where you're not necessarily worried about putting together a whole stringer yourself, just kind of swinging for the fences.
That's correct. I had good fish in my creek. Unlike a lot of folks that were up north, I was actually way down south. I was fishing in 93-degree water most of the day.
Really? Steve's in the comments talking about we made it. Yeah, we didn't know we were going to dive into KBT tonight, but I guess we're going to. Here we go. Ryan.
Do it.
Yeah.
I actually found really cool water that was crystal clear. I found a pretty large spring that I wasn't expecting to find, and I think that's why those fish were so active, truth be told.
That's usually a good little summer pattern. I know there's one spot that Steve-O and I fish some that it's got a couple springs in it, but the problem with it is it gets so choked out with grass in the summer, you can't hardly even get back to the springs. Like, there's no pedaling anything. You got to paddle to get to that kind of stuff.
This water had to be in like the upper 60s. I mean, it was cold to the touch. when I reached down. There was no fish activity directly in it, but around it is, I guess, the water kind of got, in the 70s or maybe low 80s, wherever they wanted to be. They were really active on both sides of where the spring was.
It's always fun to find.
Every time we have folks on about this series, I always ask them about the format, because it's obviously different than anything that you guys have fished. So Jordan, have you fished one of these no limits before, or was this your first go around with it?
That was my first event, and definitely something I would fish in the future. It's not like I avoided it before that. It just never kind of lined up in a weekend where I could make it a priority to to go to somewhere like Susquehanna or somewhere like that. It was, close enough where I could kind of just show up and fish and enjoy the format. And it was fun.
How did your mindset change during the event? Do you always fish the same? Like, I'm just going to catch as many as I can. Did that change anything, or did you fish any different?
It was, I didn't go into it with the thought of, hey, let's go try to win $1,000 hourly. I went in with the notion of trying to catch the most inches, and if I caught, a big fish, it just happened to work out that way, and it did. My first fish of the day was a 20.5, and I was like, you know what, that might win an hourly off the start, but as you guys saw, I don't think it took a fish under 21 inches to win any single hour the entire day, which is absurd, honestly, even for a fishery as good as Guntersville.
Yeah, Guntersville's definitely on the upswing on the Tennessee River chain. I mean, Guntersville's always good, but the past 3 or 4 years, I feel like it's gone up while Chickamauga's kind of slid down some.
Well, this is a side note, but that's kind of what happens when TWRA doesn't spray the grass as much. It's probably the least sprayed lake on the entire system, and it shows out that way. You know what I mean?
What's your favorite on the chain, Mr. Diehl?
To be honest with you, Guntersville's taking the best care of me. Chickamauga and I have had some rough tournaments, and as I sit here and try and chase a top slot at Sam Rayburn, I'm a little worried about ending up at the top at Chick. It's just kind of been a nemesis for me. But I agree with Jordan. I mean, I think that the grass and the healthy conditions in Guntersville are top notch. It basically gives the fish an opportunity to escape and get away. It's actually protecting them from a lot of things, having all that grass in there. And the eelgrass is absolutely frustrating to anglers, especially kayakers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of eelgrass myself. There's a ton of that at the lacrosse tournament, and it seems like it gets caught on everything. Your bait, your drive, your rudder, anything you get near.
Especially if you're on a Hobie.
True.
Hobie is a grassy eelgrass eater.
Yeah.
Hey, so I know you said you didn't focus on the no limit format because you were in the KBT as well, but what do you think of the format going forward? I mean, it's been a huge success so far. So what do you think of the format?
I love the format. I think that format's absolutely great. I've never fished a no limit before, but I've fished big bass tour before. So big bass tour runs in the bass boats on some of the local fisheries and heads out to the Midwest and stuff like that as well. And so I'm used to the big bass tour format and the hourly payouts. So having the no limit feature was a great addition, and I think it's a great thing to add to the sport.
For sure. I don't know how many, if they're going to add events next year, or just go to different locations, but every event's busted 100, unless I'm mistaken, Ryan, this year. This one kind of creeped along because, late summer, that's just what happens. It seems like. I mean, it didn't look like it was going to get there for a minute, but ended up with 115. So,
and they still have Fork, right? Left.
Yeah. Fork. It's a little bit later on. It's in October. But yeah, that'll be a good one. I'm going to try to be in shape for that one. So,
really?
Make a little fall comeback. It's a 1-dayer, so that's even better for the old.
You're not coming to Susky, are you? Josh Evans was asking when I talked to him the other day.
No.
Dang.
Fork will probably be the comeback and then shut it down for the year and then be ready for 24.
Okay, that's fair.
Plenty of off season.
Yeah, I've been doing some yoga, lifting some weights. I'm doing my thing, trying to get strong. So
yoga. Ashley K ain't posting them yoga videos. She'll put you doing pull-ups or something. I want to see those pappy doing yoga.
It's not like full on yoga, just good stretching. I'll put it that
hot
way.
yoga. Yeah.
Crouching tiger.
Yeah, I do. I don't. The guys really don't like how I do that stuff in the sauna, but whatever, it's fine.
Oh,
it's fine.
Sisto skipping Susky too.
Dang, Steven.
Come on now. That's ridiculous.
I know better. He'll say that and he'll show up the last
so
day. He's like me at Chick. He don't like it, but he does well there. He'll be there.
Are you gonna fish Susky, Mr. Diehl?
So actually, I haven't missed a Bassmaster tournament in 4 years, and Susky is probably going to be the first.
Really?
Well, that's good conversation piece there.
It's unfortunate, but it's the facts. I need to go. I already have my qualification to the national championship for BASS next year. I need to get in this top slot, and I'm out of leave, and so I'm all in on Sam Rayburn to try and get into the Hobie top and have both of those events queued up.
Yeah, that's good. You're sitting real good. Are you in the top 10 for Bass? Is that right? For the AOI top 5?
I was. I don't know if I still am. I'm probably in close proximity. I really messed up at PK this year. I just had an awesome day 1, and my fish moved on day 2, and I just couldn't relocate them. And that really hurt my.
Heard that story before, pal.
Yeah, I mean, it's the game. Fish move, right? But it hurt my AOY chances, and if I had an AOY shot, if I had AOY hopes, I'd be at Susky in a heartbeat.
Did you fish Susky last year?
No.
Have you ever fished Susky?
Nope.
Oh, buddy, come on!
Close
You got to do it once.
Chesapeake Bay event.
I got you. You need to do it one time. It's worth the drive just to see it. Just
that's one of the most special
huge
places.
that river is, man. It's nuts. It is insane.
Well, someday. I've never been there either, Ryan. I've told you that before.
I know, and you still won't show up. So if you can fly in, we'll pick you up. You don't have to drive. I'll get a station wagon so you feel comfortable.
What I feel like is one of you guys will bring me a Hobie and then take a picture of me in it, and then that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, then you'll be in a Hobie forever.
I'll bring you a native to fish out of.
Yeah,
that'll work.
Marshall's got a 10-foot native. He'll put you in.
Same here. I mean, you see me a 10-foot native.
We were talking about that before the show went live. That old 10-footer is a pretty niche market there. I feel like
I'm not sure.
Most of us are a little too big for 10-footers.
Josh looked like he was 10 foot tall compared to Vinny and Jordan Lee when he got up on stage. I was there looking around. I was like, how tall is this dude?
I am 6'7".
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's not little, believe it or not.
6'7", 306 pounds, man. I am. I'm a tank. So
made for a 10-footer.
So yeah. we can add him to the list with Eli and that fella from Texas and our boy from Arkansas there. So we're starting our offensive line here of kayak anglers. So
there ain't many of us that are little, to be honest.
Yeah,
they especially out of our crowd, kind of big folks. Speaking of the Jordan Lee piece, how did it feel to hammer down on a back-to-back classic champ on his home pond?
It was fantastic. I don't know who that question was for, but I'll go ahead and answer. It was fantastic.
You're ready to answer that one.
That was teed up for you, Mr. Marshall.
My papaw found out, and he's like, I heard you beat a Bassmaster legend. And I was like, yeah, I did. I doubled him. Get some.
I wish that I could have fished that one, but the first native tournament we had down there, he and I talked trash for like 3 or 4 months leading up to it. And that was really all I was worried about. And I was like texting him during the day, score tracker update, like every time I catch a fish, just to make sure he was pissed off all day long.
How did he finish? Oh, he's see, I'm looking here.
22nd. Yeah. 114 inches, something like that.
20 spots behind Jordan.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, so look, hey, I'll say this first off. The kayakers, I think, I've said this before to some other folks. I think there's some of us kayakers that would give some of those elite guys a heck of a run for their money on a regular basis. Because at the end of the day, we're all hammers. They're hammers. We're hammers. And we all come out and we compete and we scout and we break down water effectively and we show it on a regular basis. And, Jordan's got the trophy sitting there. I got the trophy sitting behind me. I mean, we've earned those opportunities. You've got yours up there on the wall lunch money. I mean, it's clear as day, right? Like we've been out there with the best of the best and been able to perform. And so like I have a lot of respect for Jordan Lee to come into the kayaks and to come play with us. Same thing for Ike. I think it's great for the industry. It's great for the sport and it's great for the future. So, I mean, wherever
honestly,
you fit.
I think GDP's probably been the most successful crossover, right? Like I think a lot of it is mindset and how you plan out your day. And he seems to be the one that really focused in on the limitations, honestly, that come with kayak fishing. Like I know we think, oh, we can get to all this water, blah, blah, blah. I've seen Jordan Lee put his 21-foot Ranger in kayak only places. Like he went back and filmed a frog video in one of my what I thought was a kayak only deal, and he squeeze that thing in there. But for him to continue to do it, that's the best part. Somebody asked, what do you think about pros fishing these kayak tournaments? I think it's fantastic because Jordan made the post. He put things out there and said pretty much, hey, this is humbling. Like I get out here and learn something new, and it's a different ball game. And it is. And to your point, Josh, I think there are some kayak anglers that could cross over and be successful in the bass boat. But even for us crossing over, do we know how to fish? Yes. Do we know how to find them? Yes. But time management, I think when you have that run and gun ability, do you keep in the kayak mindset and do you sit there and work an area like you would if you couldn't go anywhere, or do you pull the trolling motor up and run, 10 miles down the river?
I grew up fishing, bass boat tournaments, and the first few tournaments I fished in, kayaks or whatever else, it was it was different at first. I mean, the first few times I fished chick, I zeroed every time because I couldn't, it's just a whole different mindset. And then when you start catching fish, if you catch one on a bluff or whatever else, you can't just go run a bunch of bluffs.
Yep.
You kind of got to break down an area, fish that specific bluff. Hey, what's the closest one? Oh, it's a mile away. I can get to that one. I can't get to the really good bluff. That's 10 miles away. But you kind of have to break down your area a little bit better.
Well, let's get into your actual fishing days here. Obviously, we know where you guys finished. We can start with Jordan since you won the overall. You kind of touched on it when we first started about what you had found there, but kind of break down what you found and how you ended up getting on this big limit of fish.
So first thing in the morning, I was basically just trying to figure out what my area really was. It looked good on a map. I had never fished it before, and I just kind of worked my way back shallower and shallower in this area. Found a flat that had fish on it. You could see a lot of activity, and I threw a buzzbait across it and had a good one. And, I'd already caught the 20.5. Kind of worked my way back there on a thunder cricket, and just got to this flat and saw bait fish, threw the buzzbait across it, had one come up and eat it almost immediately. And I had the feeling that there was a lot of fish on that flat based on the activity. So I started throwing a caffeine shad across it and probably caught 4 or 5 fish in, 25 minutes. And it kind of got me on a, good start to the day. And I was like, well, if they're going to eat this buzzbait and show activity when that little bite died in that one specific area, I was like, I'm just going to throw this buzzbait until I find another flat. And that other flat was where the spring was. And I just basically caught them about 100 yards on both sides of the spring, and then just kind of worked that area back and forth a bunch, just throwing the buzzbait pretty much all day. And all my fish were buzzbait, or if one swiped at it and missed it, I'd follow up with a caffeine shad. And that was pretty much my entire day was in a 300-yard area pretty much.
So there wasn't a Marshall midday move?
There was no Marshall midday move. I got multiple Marshall mid-morning pre-tournament morning moves with got to the first ramp and there was too many people there. Second ramp there was a reasonable amount of people there, but I didn't feel it was right. And the third spot, which I would normally go to and check out, I'd already looked at when I drove down there. The grass was kind of dead. I'd heard they sprayed it. And then I just went to that area that I'd never been before, and I was the only one there, and was like, I'm 100% committed to this, for the rest of the day. I'm either going to break it down and find something out for 2 weeks from now, or I'm going to learn this for later on down the road. We have a lot of tournaments at Guntersville. And like I said on stage, that's probably the lake that I've fished the most this year for anything, even though it's, 2.5 hours from the house. It just, works out that way with tournaments and my schedule.
You pulled it off. I mean, to work one area and put up, you were what was Ethan's total, Jeff? How far out were Marshall's fish in front there? It was a pretty good, 70 or 80 inches?
It was about 50, I think.
Was it?
50 and change.
Yeah,
pretty
301
solid.
to 254.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's a runaway for sure.
Yeah.
That was a solid move. That paid off.
Yeah, not too bad. I can't complain about it,
Mr. Diehl, what was your approach? How did you kind of number one, how did your morning start? Lead us through your entire process there.
So for me, I mean, I had found some fish in practice on some grass lines, and moving towards the back of a creek on the southern end. Like I said, I had warm water temps. I had seen a lot of fish out on ledges and whatnot during practice. I was looking for ledge fish, but I could never get the ledge fish to really fire. I could catch one or two in a trip, but not really get them to chase the big baits and actually commit. And so I was like, well, we'll modify the approach. And so I targeted grass edges and grass lines. And on Friday in practice, as I was moving towards the back of the creek, I found an area where the fish were schooling very heavily in 15-foot of water, relating to absolutely nothing other than the bait, and I caught home. I was like, look, this is Clark's Hill in a nutshell. I can target schooling, roaming fish in the middle of nowhere. And so when I came back on tournament day, I started catching those fish they were suspended in 15 foot of water. I was throwing a Magnum square bill from 6 Cents and basically twitching it like a jerk bait in about 7 foot of water in the 15 foot deep and catching them. They would come up to it and they would look at it on live scope, and I would twitch it in front of them a few times, and then they would annihilate it in competition mode and set the hook and bring them in. They were all consistently 15, 16, 17-inch fish, which was really good for the team tournament because it really helped us kind of propel ourselves forward. And then I knew as the day went on, I could move off of those fish and work some shallow stuff and look for a big. And, lunchtime, I decided to move off, give that spot some time to rest. And I started working shallow grass with a speed worm, and quickly saw the pattern with the speed worm was that anytime I had green growth on top of a grass mat, I had a fish nearby. And so I basically targeted those, and the big girl came off of one of those.
The speed worm's a really good bait on Guntersville, especially since the eelgrass has taken over quite a bit. We talked about baits getting hung up on that eelgrass all the time. The speed worm's one that you can really fish eelgrass pretty successfully with.
I'm looking at your picture there, Josh. You're kind of living on the edge there. You got that the board kind of hanging out there.
I would have a heart attack trying to get a fish that way.
But I look like every fish pick is like this. So you got your own little technique there with the foot cradle of the board and the.
You got to get the feet in, for the fans.
Yeah.
So I guess I got two things for you there. One fish that's not on the scoreboard, I lost a 15.5 that jumped to the left over the net over my fish finder.
Wow.
They only go left because that board is slanted, so they only go left. They don't ever jump right. Now that I say that, one's going to jump right.
Yeah.
And two, one of the ladies that I work with in my day job, she's like, "I will pay you $10 if you paint your toenails." And I was like,
"What?"
Yeah. Like,
wow.
You can see my toes in all my pictures because I'm almost always fishing in my bare feet. And she's like, "I'll pay you $10 if you paint your toenails." And I was thinking, you know what? Maybe we should do a paint your toenails charity event. Why not?
Solid thinking.
I don't care. Hey, let's do a charity event. Paint your toenails for a kayak fishing weekend. Donate everything. Do a good.
Put your you got to paint your ID on your toenails and make sure they're in the picture.
My handwriting's terrible. I'm going to need some assistance.
So that's right there. If you go to my social media, you will see a video that I posted tonight when I took my second shot. This fish decided to get freaky, and you can watch her jump off the board.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
I got it in slow-mo. I had to slow it down. The phone captured it in the live shot, and yeah.
Mantine's crazy. I knew when we started saying that stuff, he'd be
oh, man. I'm surprised Harshman must be busy tonight. He's changing the batteries in his walkie-talkie or something. He'd be all over that.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a cotton picking minute, boys. Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got found out?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty quick on the
oh boy
on the shares, Ryan.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch this.
Oh wow! Look at that. Oh, there you go.
My guy, he was ready.
He looked you right in the eyes too.
Oh yeah.
He said a cuss word probably as he was heading out.
That's why his mouth was open.
She didn't leave the boat. She actually landed right back on the board.
Really?
That's not bad.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, she landed right back on the board. I was trying to get a second picture. You know how it goes. I tried to put my hand on the first picture. I didn't feel like I needed to on that one. She was calm. And so the second shot, she got frisky. I took a third shot after that, but I thought it was a cool moment. I was like, yeah, I'll share it with the crew.
Where are you from, Josh? Where's home base?
So home for me is where I put my head at night. And so that's become Grovetown, Georgia, just outside of Augusta.
Okay.
Born in Georgia, but a military brat, so moved a lot in my life. And no place has been really home except for where I put my head at night.
And you fish a lot in our area, like on the Tennessee River chain, quite a bit. So you're driving pretty often up there.
Yep. So, I mean, and some of the best sticks in the nation are up there and down in Florida. So you got to make the trip to compete. There's some really great anglers here in Georgia as well. The Southeast is stacked with good folks, and it's great competition. Love it.
I heard you say you're almost out of leave. So what do you do in real life that you're out of leave?
I do cybersecurity, and so
Really? Okay.
I work a 40-hour week day job, and I chase the bills at home, and then I usually get 2 days of practice for any events that I show up to.
Pretty solid.
So that's about what I can do. Wisconsin trips like that get really hard because they eat a lot of leave because I have to take off 4 days in the process. But work's pretty convenient. They know that I like to do this for a side living and a side hustle, and absolutely love this. So they give me every opportunity I can to get out, and I get my stuff done during the week.
He didn't miss much on that Wisconsin trip, did he, Marshall?
No.
No.
Now, wait a minute. Y'all caught some bigs, but there was a lot of 14s and 15s caught here on the G.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of 14s and 15s.
You can't compare.
Look at how many
I'm just
over
playing. I'm just playing. I'm not
got
going down
caught.
that. I'm not going down that road. I'm just
There's
kidding.
one fish over 20 inches caught on lacrosse. It's
I know
terrible.
it.
Hurts
Well,
my
how
heart.
big was Siddiqui's? It didn't touch. Was it 22?
22, I think. Yeah.
Okay, that's a big fish for up there. Big fish for anywhere, I guess. But so many over 20 on Guntersville. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you go best 5, it's you can't even compare.
I fished the local event. I don't know how many people saw that, but I fished the local event, which is a 5-fish derb Saturday, and I had 93 inches and got beat by 10 inches.
Yeah.
The guy dropped 103 inches, and somehow no one's even talking about that at all.
Yeah, that's what we get. We kind of overlook some of the these double dips events like this where there's 2 or 3 options. Those other events get overlooked, even if there's 70 or 80 guys in the tournament. People don't even, they just gloss over it and say, oh, well, we're looking at the Bassmaster event or the native event or the Hobie event.
I think that's the tricky part of all the double, and you see it, like there'll be 2 or 3 local clubs kind of piggyback onto whatever big event comes in. What's y'all's opinion on that? Where do you think the local club scene is going? Do you think it's getting choked out by all these bigger events? Do you think there's still a place for the, $40 entry fee tournaments like we all grew up fishing, or what do you think the move is here?
I think there's.
Go ahead. Okay, that's fine. I guess I was just going to say is that I think there's a place for people still need to be able to cut their teeth. Okay, I think Vinny did an amazing job of giving the local tournament an opportunity to highlight themselves and to broadcast their weigh-in while lengthen at the beginning. It was quick, it was simple, it was clean. Vinny did a heck of a job. The guy who knocked out 103 inches, yet was dragging rocks in deeper water.
A shaky head.
Iron locked up. He had an impressive performance. And, anytime you can drop 103 on Guntersville, you can compete with anybody. And that's for certain. But as far as the question about these grassroots tournaments being choked out, I don't think they're being choked out so much. I think that they're giving people perspective. I don't care whether you're in a bass boat or whether you're in a kayak, you kind of step your way through the fields and you kind of feel what you can do in a competition. And that gives you the ability to grow and compete on higher levels. And, these bigger tournaments that a lot of us fish in, we've cut our teeth on a lot of smaller grassroots trails, and we still fish them regularly. But this is our progression and advancement in our fishing careers.
What about you, Marshall? You fish about all of them.
Yeah, I do. I fish every one of them. I'd say one of the more interesting things that I fish over the course of a year is actually the local, they call it bare bones, and there's more and more of these trails popping up, and it's no drive system, no electronics, no motors. It's just you and a paddle. And some of the events, they all basically put in at the same ramp and just go like we used to, or get on the same river float, and everybody just floats the same river, same section of river. And that kind of brings everything back, full circle. And those are some of the harder events to win because everyone is literally equally matched. I know during the years ago when I first got a Hobie, I was one of the first people with Hobie in the Knoxville area. So I felt like I had an advantage before we started just because I was able to cover more water than a lot of the guys paddling or even, that had slower pedal drives at the time. So, to see that come full circle is really cool for me, and I really enjoy fishing those events. But as far as comparing them all, I think there's double dipping is one of the coolest things I think that people can do when we go to these places. It supports the local trails. You know, it kind of gives the local guys that want to get in everything, both events or all three events, whatever it happens to be. And, you know, you can not travel and still have fish against really high competition for, you know, the national scene in your own area. So it's nice to be able to have a lot of options. And, you know, if you start comparing that to bass boat events, you know, there's still 9 million bass boat events every week, you know, on small, you know, weeknight events and that nature. So when you start comparing kayak fishing events to that, there's really not a whole lot of kayak events. But now you actually have the option to choose. When I go through and make my schedule and try to do 50 events in a year, I actually like have to choose, hey, will I go here? Do I go up to Northeast Tennessee and fish a group up there? Do I go to Alabama? You know, there's a local charity tournament the week of Susky Bassmaster, and it's like, okay, am I going to fishing for soldiers, or am I going to go up to Bassmaster, which I'm going to Bassmaster because it's Susky, by the way. But you know, it's interesting when you think about everything that is available now. If you decide, hey, I want to just put in $40 to an event, you can look and say, hey, here's a $40 entry fee event close to me, and I'm going to fish that. So it's nice to have options now.
I think you touched on something that's really good. The local guys that maybe, you know, they don't know how they're going to stack up against more of the national level competition, if you want to call it that. But, you know, the people that travel and fish all the time, all these big tournaments, for them to fish their local event against these same people and do well and beat them, that may be the, you know, the push they need to kind of shoot their shot and chase something a little bigger. I think that's, you know, probably one of the key factors in, you know, these double dip events.
And there's a lot of really good local anglers. One that comes to mind is Joby Berry. That's here in Knoxville. Joby wins almost every single event local on Chick or Watts Bar. And he's an incredible fisherman. He doesn't really travel. To my knowledge, he's only traveled away from home in the area one time. And it was the Bassmaster Kayak Classic at whatever that lake was in South Carolina. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, Russell. He actually finished in the top 10, maybe 8th or 6th or something like that. And
got on the stage.
Yeah, got on the stage. And you know, I haven't got on the stage for the Bassmaster for the national event. And he's a hammer, but he just doesn't travel that much. And I think when you come here, and most people will be like, oh, who's this guy that's catching them on day one of an event or whatever, and everybody local's going, oh yeah, you better watch out for him.
Yeah, I mean, just like on the bass boat side of things, there's far more people. Number one, there's far more recreational anglers than anything, but there's far more local anglers that really probably have no desire to ever travel in fish tournaments.
Yeah.
You know, some of them don't even have a desire to be like elite anglers. They just enjoy fishing the local jackpots or local tournaments. You know, that's their jam. And I understand that completely. So, but you know, but I do see there is a point, depending on where your state is or what kind of area you have, where you can get too many local clubs and they end up eating each other a little bit. You have 10 people showing up to every tournament where you could have 30 or 40, maybe.
I think
50,
we have like 15 or 16 clubs now in Cast in Tennessee, and more popping up like right next to other clubs, and then thinking that they're going to, oh, well, we're here now, so we're going to, you know, divide up that many more anglers. Like it you know, it's kind of a catch-22. Like you want it to grow and you want people to be involved, but at some point there, you know, I think geographically you can only have so many events in an area, whether it's local or mid-tier or the, you know, national trails.
At some point it gets watered down, right? Yeah.
I laugh here in Arkansas. We have a handful of clubs. I don't think we have too many, but each club, of course, starts their own Facebook group and they get all this thing. Well, it's just all the same stuff getting cross-posted all over the place. It's like we'd be better off just to have one group and just share all the tournaments there. It's just confusing. It's all the same people.
You mentioned that because Georgia went through a wave of that.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to have 6 or 7 trails running simultaneously, and like it slowly whittled itself down. And I think there's 3 or 4 remaining. And like we get into this part of the year when we get into the hot summer and the numbers start to fall off a little bit, less people show up for tournaments. Then football season, school goes back in session, vacations are taking place. You just kind of see tournament numbers drop off a little bit on some of the grassroots stuff. And it's hard for some of those trails to succeed in that environment.
Yeah, and then the death blow comes, which is hunting season.
Yep.
I think part of the explosion that we've seen on the national tournament scene is factored into that too. Like I think when you have these elite trails come through, people are forced to pick more. Like you only have so many weekends available in a year period. So then you're kind of forced to like look at ROI. Like, is it worth, this investment, or, what are your goals for the year? Are you trying to qualify for X championship or whatever? So I think, I don't know that more is better, but it's coming either way.
That's right, Bob. Minnesota has 3 trails and one's ran by Nazis. That's unfortunate, Bob. But
I had no idea there was a pile of them up there in Minnesota. But
yeah, makes the choice easy. Fish one of the other two.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy, Bob. Let's see. Ryan, both of us have been starring up questions and comments back there. You already answered this one,
man.
About the boat pro boat guys. Didn't we already answer that one? Sort of.
We did, yeah.
All right, we'll take that one off. Let's see here. Do you think there will be, I'm assuming that means will be a pro only series?
I hope he means a Z Pro only series.
Z Pro only
where if
series.
you don't run Z Pro batteries, you don't get to fish. Oh, I don't know what a pro is, so that's going to be difficult to explain. I think.
Did you just say you're one? That's all you do,
right?
Ryan.
So you get a sticker, you get a jersey. Like, all right, you're a pro.
You know what I would like to see? You know what I think the next step would be in a situation like that? It may not solve all the issues, but I would like to see a full series buy-in to where you're fishing against the same people for over the course of a year. So you're not just going to different places and competing against locals that are cherry picking events like, I tend to do on occasion.
Yeah, the jackpot big open.
Yeah. I would like to see a full series where you buy in, even if it's 5 events or 4 events or something like that, to where you're fishing against the same people, throughout the course of the year.
How many do y'all think? Let's pretend, for instance, that we made this happen.
Here we go.
We have, let's say, 5 events at $500 a pop. It's $2,500 up front, beginning of the year. How many anglers you think would sign up for that? Realistically,
50.
Think you can get 50? Think you get 50?
I'm in a similar boat. I think 50. I think you got 50 people. I think you got 50 people that are probably hardcore to the point that they would always be there. But I think it's kind of limited there. And I think that's one of the things that I think we're struggling with, and whether or not we have a trail advancement into something like that, is that we just don't know if we can get the numbers.
I don't know if you could hit 50, to be honest with you. I think you could hit 25 if you look down the roster of who's where and, how much money people are pissing away every year. I don't know that you would hit 50, especially if it was an upfront deal where you had to commit. You couldn't back out. If you look at even registration now, there's probably 20 people that sign up early, quote early, for every event. Everybody else waits like, well, I got to see what the weather's doing. My dog had fleas last week, so I don't know if I'm.
I think you'd almost have to have 40, upper 40s or 50 to be able to do something like that. I
think you'd have to I think to make it successful, 50 is that number that you have to hit, and even then you have to figure out what is he talking.
Got to get them early. You got to get them right there with that.
They ain't 125 people paying $500, man. We kayak fishing.
Snatch up that earned income credit right at tax time.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
We're sitting there arguing over paying $260 for an entry fee, much less ponying up $2,500 at one swipe.
Yep.
It's got me title runs on their kayaks.
It's got me brainstorming, Ryan. We do a KBN series like that. Cap it at 25, but everybody has to stay in the same house every tournament. We record everything going on in the house. And boom, we got a.
So I think there has to be a sponsor involvement there, and I don't mean sponsor like, here's money to cover cost of putting the tournament on, but I mean like a prize pot at the end of the year, something substantial if people are paying that kind of money. So I think you'd have to have a big money title sponsor putting up, and we've seen it in the past. We've seen these companies put up 25 grand, 50 grand. No one knows where the money went, but they've done it before. So, I think it'd be worth looking into if somebody had a really nice logo glowing in the dark or something, and maybe
Yeah,
Maybe a guy that didn't like to fish 2-day tournaments anymore. We'd probably
Yeah.
figure something out.
that's right. That's right. We
That's
could.
right.
We can do it. We can do it. Hey, look, Josh Hawks had a good point. He said if the COVID checks come back, plenty of people could slide in there. With
Apparently, they're firing it back up. They're firing the machine back up. So get ready.
Yeah.
We'll be rolling again.
the stimuli checks and the PPP loans will be flying off the shelves here pretty soon. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. We don't want that. Yeah, look, Corey said we need to do a Big Brother Kayak Series. That's what I'm saying. I think it'd be a big hit.
We got plenty of drama, that's for sure.
Yeah, but you get
we
a
got
little
enough
crying
to fill
room.
up an hour episode.
Yeah, just put a little closet with a GoPro in it so people can go in there and bitch and cry about stuff. We'll put that. That'll be great.
We have triggered Jeff. We have triggered Jeff.
I'm just thinking out loud, man. Just thinking
I like
out loud.
it. Keep thinking. We're making progress here. This is the future of the sport.
That's right. Big Brother series. It's the future of the sport. Speaking of series, Ethan Robertson, what do y'all think about the Adventure Kayak Series? We were kind of talking about that before we went live. I don't
thought about it yet, Ethan.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion because I don't know all the details, if I'm telling the truth, Ethan. But if it's a reboot of River Bassin', that's cool. If that's what it is.
The only thing I've seen is Sholey Palooza in May. That's literally the only thing I've seen.
I didn't myself watch the video. Joshua, have you watched the video? Have you seen what it's about? Okay, so none of the none of the tournament anglers we have on this podcast have watched it yet. But as soon as we know, we'll speak on it. We don't want to get anybody cross involved that's uninvolved that might be involved and get in trouble.
Where's Van Tyne at? Hit us up in the comments. Explain it. I know Van Tyne knows about it.
Yeah, if anybody has any intimate knowledge, not necessarily about that series, but any intimate knowledge, would like to chime in here and let us know something.
There it is.
Be fantastic.
Ryan, yes or no? Is it a reboot of River Bassin' in a way? Just let us know that, Mr. Van
Blink
Dyne.
twice. Blink twice if yes.
Yeah, throw an emoji in there if it is. So some painted toes.
I love that. I love that his response is "I do."
My man.
Oh man. So Marshall, what'd you think about your first podcast? Let's go ahead and transition over there.
Honestly, I'm glad I got the first one going. It was quite a bit longer than I expected. The goal going forward is to have a little bit more structure. I have secured my second guest. It's going to be Mr. Jim Ware.
Oh, I like that.
All right.
Who, is a fantastic road dog in and of himself. We've spent a lot of time together, and somebody mistaked him for my dad one time when we walked into in an eating establishment somewhere. Yeah, he's long-haired, hippie-looking dude. We're kind of built the same in a way. So it's I think that'll be a great podcast. Jim hasn't been on a whole lot of stuff, and Jim's kind of a feature at a lot of tournaments down south, and he's an incredible angler, has a knack for catching real big fish. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've got more questions. I kind of winged it with Eric, and I think you can kind of tell that when you go back and watch it, where there wasn't as good of a flow as I'd hoped for. But we're gonna take some constructive criticism and do that going forward, where I can kind of let people get to know the angler I'm interviewing more so than us having a conversation about what's going on. And that was the goal when I first started this and was talking about it, is trying to get to know people that aren't haven't done interviews on here for winning events or angler of the years or something like that, but are really good anglers that travel well and are really interesting and have cool stories. And we're going to try to incorporate more stories and fun things with that too. So that's the goal.
Well, the trick with podcasting is you start off rough, and then then you learn what you're doing, and you kind of hone it down. I thought your first episode was great. I'll go ahead. I'll listen to the whole thing before you published it to make sure there wasn't anything that we had to cut out for legal reasons or anything. But I thought it went great.
Honestly,
if we started there, we could have cut off 3 years of this deal.
Every time I watch our first one, Ryan, it gives me the sweats. Just listening to myself talk. It's so bad. Oh God. No, I thought you were good, Jordan. When we traded messages about it, you said I felt like it started off a little bit cold and then warmed up, and I guess I'd agree with that. But I thought it was good start to finish, to be honest.
Yeah,
but you could tell the second half you were kind of in more of a flow.
And it's your deal. Like, this is your own deal. Like, this isn't copy and paste, you have to do it this way or that way. I mean, that's the reason it's the Road Dogging Show. You do whatever the hell you want to, man. Just do it. Have fun with it.
I know it's not
It
as
was
structured
fun. I
it's not
enjoyed
as
it.
structured and set up as well as ours, but you'll get there.
Well, I'm very.
Here's my checklist of items we had to cover tonight.
Yeah, I've got one right here, man.
I've listened to a lot of podcasts and been on podcasts that get a little dry because it's very rehearsed. You go back and watch some other people and they ask the same questions over and over and over again. And I didn't want it to be that. I like kind of winging things and doing it that way. And I knew if I could wing it, if I couldn't wing it with Thomason, then I knew I'd have to be really structured for that, because Thomason's one of my boys. We can talk about whatever, and y'all saw that. So, I'm happy it flowed the way it did. It flowed well. I just like to be a little bit more on point. So
there's just some good feedback. Enjoyed the first episode. The murder shed cleans up well. There you go.
Thank you.
Hey, so in the comments, y'all, we've got some intel on the adventure series. We got
Levi.
It
wasn't just a YouTube link, Ryan. Clearly, we're not going to watch that, or we already would have.
Yeah. So Josh, just a little FYI here. Levi is 6'10", 380. So another fellow big kayak angler right there.
Y'all are both offensive line for KBN.
Yeah. Bookend tackles right here. So it says it's got cool ideas like 5 fish counting Friday and Saturday, 5 fish, small fish limit side deal, bounty fish worth good money, seminars at every event from known yak anglers. So I assume that means the 3 of y'all on doing seminars over there. Let's see. Weigh-ins will be at theaters to play clips from the anglers. So that wasn't just a weird graphic. They're actually going to be in theaters. So somehow they're going to get the clips of the anglers up on the theater screen. Maybe eat popcorn.
I hope it's like interpretive dance or something. Is what like you're acting out your fishing day would be amazing.
And then Dwayne chimed in and said there's maybe a team event and single event with large bass and small bass leaderboards.
So that's how for folks that don't know the original river bassin format, that it was, you could do a team thing, and pretty much any water that connected to this section of river, whether it's an oxbow or, a stream or whatever, anything that connected, anything that flowed into this particular section of river was eligible to fish. So I don't know if that's the same format, but that's what it used to be with a river bassin side.
Ryan, I finished third in the river bassin event that came through our region. I feel like I probably would have won it, but I dropped my hog trough in the river and it sunk to the bottom, and that was the end of my day at like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you got to foam up them hog troughs.
But I still got to stand on a podium made of coolers.
Right
for that.
Yeah, cool. You got to boil them, and then you got to foam them up. Those are 2 things about hog troughs.
Yep.
And you got to mark them. You had to mark them. Don't forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
the Sharpie.
God, that was such a headache. My lines were a wreck. I had real thick lines. You know what I'm saying?
And dudes they're trying to get that extra 1/4 inch with them thick lines.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, of course you are. Why not? That was one of the first things that I was taught in kayak fishing was thick lines, and then just angle that camera a little bit to make sure the tail appears to be across it.
And then you push on the board real hard and bend it. And, no, I'm just kidding.
Nobody taught me that one.
That came later. That was the dawn of the catch age, Ryan. That's what that was.
Speaking of, have you applied for the position at Catch yet, Jeff? Looking for a programmer. Good money?
Really? Programmer?
Yeah, no kidding.
I know how to turn this thing on. Will that suffice? Turning this on and
it was like $30 an hour or something. No kidding. I mean, it was a solid little deal for, I don't know what a programmer does. I assume just type in things on the CNC machine, but
can't do
solid.
it. Can't do it. I'm too busy teaching federal employees how to be better employees. That's what I do.
Well, okay then.
Good luck.
Hey,
what
man.
are you guys? I want both of your opinions on the Catch trophies since people have gotten to take them home. What do you think about the old Catch trophies, folks?
I really like the.
Ooh, look at that. He spun it out just like that right there.
I like the big ones. The smaller ones are cool. I'm never going to turn a trophy down, but I think these bigger Catch trophies where they're kind of built like a kind of a podium kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I really like those. They're cool. They're heavy. They're beefy. It feels like you really won something. That's nothing against the smaller just sections of Catch board, but these are really cool.
Yep. What do you think, Josh?
I agree. I like the addition of the Catch trophies. I think they're pretty neat. I'm with Jordan. I like the bigger ones better than I kind of like the smaller ones. But I mean, for some of your local stuff and for some of your smaller events. I think the small ones fit really, really well into those circuits. I've also seen a lot of grassroots programs doing some of their create your own products as well for those trophies. And so, you regularly see on social media some really unique ideas that have turned into great trophies and great memorabilia for winning certain events. So, but all in
I
all,
like the original Bassmaster trophy. I see you've got a couple of those on display there behind you too. I mean, those were nice, but I think when you think about winning a Bassmaster event specifically, you think of a big blue trophy. Like it's got to be big and blue. That's part of the deal.
I think you got to tip a cap to the catch fellas for getting outside the box of just making the measuring boards, because I mean, especially theirs, the metal ones, they're going to run out of people to sell them to, because unless you drop in the lake, you're going to have it for a long, long time. So getting off and making all these trophies and doing the accessories they're doing, smart move. Well done over there, catch fellers. This quote right here, Ryan, it'll probably be on a meme like decades from now. Look at this. A single man destroyed one company and set another off. Didn't work for either. That's a deep quote, man.
Which one didn't it work for? I don't.
I think it means he didn't specifically work for them.
Okay. I got it. I was like, damn. I
read it backwards
Duke
too.
seemed to be doing pretty good.
Yeah,
that could be about a lot of things. That could be about like Donald Trump and CNN. No, we don't want to go political here. Sorry, guys.
You can't help it. By the way, you never let Siddiqui know what you were talking about last week.
Yeah, I did.
He called me after the show and he's like, the hell is he talking about? And I was confused because I couldn't remember our conversation. And you were asking him if he knew a politician in Cincinnati that was running for president. He's like, oh, well, that's all.
I sent him a message because he sent it back and he said he'll send me a selfie of them kicking it one night.
Okay. All right. He called me like concerned. I was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I didn't want to bring it up on the show. Sorry. The older you get, the more you pay attention to all that stuff, unfortunately.
I completely forgot what you were going to ask him. And I was like, dang, I'd remember if it was something spicy, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It was about Vivek. It was about old Vivek from Cincinnati. That was it. Oops. Yep. James Francis in North Dakota has amazing Bassmaster trophies. A lot of, like Josh said, a lot of the states have gone and gotten like custom ones done. And shout out to my man, Dwayne Beatty from right here in my backyard, one of our local anglers. Does a lot of the design for all of those, if not all of the design, when they ask for local trails to have designs. So there you go.
What else? Our questions. We have anything else?
No, we got comments from Twitch. Ryan.
Oh,
Zarito 3035 on Twitch says he's a bit late. He came up from Florida to fish Guntersville. It was hotter than Florida up in Guntersville. Is that true?
It was hot. Heat indexes were 112. 116 and 107 Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was something.
I looked at that thing. Vinny asked me like Monday or Tuesday if I was going to fish it, and my scar was, raw from lacrosse. And I looked at the weather and I was like, ain't no way I'm doing that to myself twice. I'm sorry. Good luck, boys. Love Guntersville. I can't. I'm not going to sit out there and sweat that bad. Sorry.
I didn't have very good service, and I ended up being off the water at about 12:30. So I missed some of the last hour of the miserable heat, and I was already miserable when I was going back to the boat ramp. Brutal.
Guntersville definitely fishes different than Florida, though, because Guntersville being on the TVA chain, those fish, even grass fish, they're much more conditioned to responding to current. Like that's one of the things that I've noticed, like fishing Florida lakes versus up here. Those Florida fish, they're hanging out in the grass and pads, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The Guntersville fish, man, they will turn on or turn off depending on, what the upper dam or lower dam is doing. And you have to watch both, as I've learned the hard way.
100%. You got to watch both dams on any Tennessee River event. 100%. Yeah.
On the bright side, both flows were pretty steady Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're pretty consistent. It was about 30,000 coming off of Nickajack and 27 or 29 going out in Guntersville. So they were pretty consistent. But the air was stale. We had almost no wind through most of practice, and tournament day we had a little bit more wind, but not enough to really cue up some of those deeper offshore fish. But one thing I noticed about Guntersville this round, and I don't know what Jordan thinks. Jordan said he caught some fish towards the backs. Saw a lot of fish transitioning and a lot of bait fish coming in. Guntersville's about to get really hot.
Oh yeah. Usually about mid-October is when you can kind of kind of bank on Guntersville being on fire. Like the end of September starts to get good, but that October section and the grass will start to cheese up, the frog bites on, the punching bites on. This was a little early for that, so I was kind of, concerned on what kind of numbers it was going to put out. But once that grass bite really gets right, I mean, you guys put up great numbers for this one, but it would probably be a 450 or 500 inch winning stringer for an October tournament down there.
Yeah. Well, fellas, we're not going to keep you too much longer. Ryan, you got anything else you want to ask them before we let them slide out of here and do this giveaway?
I think I'm done. Congrats, guys. Mr. Diehl, it's always good seeing you at boat ramps or on the big stage or wherever you end up. Marshall, congrats on the first podcast and another win this year. Look at him go.
Thank you.
Look at him go.
Hey, it's trophy season, baby. This is time to shine. This is what we fish for all year. Is everybody's talking about? Everybody's like, I got 1 or 2 tournaments left. I'm like, I got multiple state championships left, baby. We're still wide open.
Oh, here we go.
I like it.
November's looking busy.
There you go. Hey, well done, fellas. Congrats. Appreciate y'all sliding by here tonight.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having us.
Take care.
There we go. What a show, Ryan.
What a show. What a show.
Two big hitters.
Mr. Diehl was with me when we were, I can't remember where we were, Seminole, I think. I had two older gentlemen at the boat ramp just going through, picking apart my kayak, and I was I was slowly herding them to Dugout, handing out business cards, and he's like, you're a salesman, huh? I was like, that's what we do right here. Get them in there.
So you guys see what we're doing for the giveaway. Hashtag Z-Man in the comments. Somebody tried to preemptively strike with the Z-Man, hashtag Z-Man fishing. So it's just Z-Man. Z-Man fishing is not going to do it. I feel like we could get a Twitch winner. I hope we do get a Twitch winner. I'm not rigging it. That would be cool. A reward for the Twitchers.
Just do it. Rig it.
And you know what? The last few weeks, Ryan, YouTube is now steadily overtaking Facebook for the most viewers. YouTube's
really
where it's at. Yeah.
Okay.
I think because the Facebook folks bounce out and go over watch it on YouTube because they say the stream is sometimes clearer.
It's clear, and a lot of people, from what I've seen, screenshots and videos and stuff people send, they'll watch it on their TV in their living room.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. Just pulling up the YouTube app.
Yeah, we may not be in
the theater.
Smart.
I ain't mad at them.
Yeah, that's cool. Give you guys
as always, we appreciate the participation. Always check out our sponsors if you don't mind: Pro God Lithium, Bangtail Whiskey, Revo, Gill, Z-Man, and Seaguar. And then, of course, our presenting sponsor, Dugout Bait and Tackle. I'll be down there this weekend. It's the Georgia Country Music Festival. We got some folks coming in town, so we're going to run them over there and get them hooked up on some fresh gear while they're in strumming their little guitars.
Hey, I need to ask Steve, or just look on the website, I guess, and see, did they sell out of those Spro Chads? I was going to get some, but I didn't want to try to cut off people that really need them right now. So I was waiting to see.
Those go so fast. I would be shocked if there's any of those left, to be honest with you. But Steve will be down there Thursday because he's going to meet us while we're down for the little festival.
Steve said in comments they
still have them. There you go.
I'm about to hit you up, Steve, for my fall comeback. I need some Chads. All right, we got our entries in. I say it's time to roll with it. See who gets slow rolled tonight. Drum roll for the slow roll. Here we go. Could it be a Twitcher? Oh, back to the YouTube. Chris Cabral.
Has Chris won before?
I don't know. He may have.
I feel like he has. I feel like I've sent that. I feel like I've sent that over before.
Hey, there's no law against it yet.
No,
So well done, Chris. You're the winner tonight. Hit us up. Josh got slow rolled tonight. Sorry, Josh.
Oops.
Yeah. Good show, man. That was fun.
It was solid, man. It was solid. I'm gonna get back to work, go home, pack up. I'm gonna clear coat those KBN cornhole boards and put them to work this weekend. We're gonna have a good time with those things.
Good stuff. All right, buddy. We'll see y'all.
Take care, y'all.